Hello, Bravehearts. My name is Jim Gale, and I'm so excited about today's show. My family and I live here 100% off the grid in Central Florida, and we provide all of the food, water, and energy that we need right here in our homestead. And I'm here today, and we'll be coming to you every Wednesday, or most Wednesdays, with Eric Heinzelman. Eric was the head chef at Planet Hollywood Corporate, right? And Eric is a genius at teaching us how to basically turn the abundance that our lands produce into beautiful and delicious and nutritious food on the plate. So essentially, we're going to be doing a cooking show while we talk about how to be completely free. So Bravehearts, this is for you. We are closing the circle and showing you how to go from wherever you are now to completely self-reliant. So Eric, tell us a little bit about your history.
So I was a chef for 28 years, opened 37 restaurants, 4 different concepts from Planet Hollywood to Miller's Ale Houses to a wing house. I worked for a couple different companies doing that. It ended up putting me in the hospital about 3 years ago. Woke up one day and I couldn't breathe. So I called 911. They took me to the hospital. I was in congestive heart failure, kidney failure, liver failure, and was almost 300 pounds. I spent 51 days in the hospital, had open heart surgery, was on dialysis for about 7 months. Once I got out of the hospital, my body started healing itself, and I ended up getting off of dialysis, changed my diet, changed just the way I live. Can't go back to working in restaurants. So I figured if I can't cook food anymore, I'd start growing it. And that's how I met Jim through my brother, and we started this collaboration. A year ago.
Yeah.
Full time a couple months ago.
You know, a year ago, I believe it was just under a year ago when you gave me this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this, my friends, has become a daily, it's profound. So what is in here?
It is nothing but lion's mane powder. So we take the fruiting body of the lion's mane mushroom, we dry it, put it through a pulverizer, put it through a sifter, and we get pure powder. There's nothing else in it but that.
Yeah. And you know, with your knowledge about how to grow these and how you do it, the process that you use is as pure as any process that I've seen. And the part of the lion's mane that you use is also the most nutrient dense, right?
Absolutely. So you can use mycelium and you can grow it in a petri dish and do all that stuff and get lion's mane powder. It's not as potent as this powder. And to me, it's kind of like cheating. So they don't have to go through the process of actually growing the mushroom to get the highest quality product. So from our fruiting box to that pouch, you know, we do everything in-house, 100%, from growing the mushrooms all the way through the process to getting to the powder.
Yeah. And we also, Eric also consults and teaches you if you want to grow your own microgreens or mushrooms at home. Eric is a consultant for this. And I mean, just today, this is so neat. So tell us just a little bit about the energy thing. There's a million stories and we'll get into cooking here real soon. But just today, tell us about the energy.
So I was using an air conditioner to cool my fruiting box. And I started doing some research. Before I moved down here, I just paid my electric bill, so I didn't care how much power I used. Being on an off-grid you have to be more mindful of what you use. So I started researching AC air conditioning units, and I found one that uses almost exactly half the amount of power that I am using currently or was using. And it's actually more efficient and it gets colder than the one I was using. So it's a lot more consistent as far as the temperature I can maintain in the fruiting box, which is very important for certain types of mushroom.
It's so cool. And then what we're doing right now is we have designed a steel frame food, water, and energy kind of system. It can be called a greenhouse, but it's much more than a greenhouse. And in this greenhouse, we will have mushrooms and worm casting and plant starts and a prep area. And we are going to be, through the Braveheart Nation, we're going to be bringing this to market. So for under $30,000, you can have your own grow system that can produce about what? In monthly revenue, what can that produce?
The whole system around, depending on how packed you make it, I'd say $10,000 to $15,000 a month.
$10,000 to $15,000 a month in gross revenue. And a lot of that, if you use the products in a cyclical way, in a regenerative, like reuse, recycle, repurpose way, the cost of inputs is mostly a little bit of labor.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you can use everything, right? So go ahead.
So you have your mushroom grow room. So once your blocks are done, you take those blocks, break them up, you feed those to your worms. You take the worm castings from your worms and use those to plant your new starts. So it's a 100% recycled everything in there, and it's self-sustaining.
Yeah. It's epic. I'm so excited. All right, so let's get to cooking. What are we going to do today?
So we're going to do fish tacos. So we're going to start by making some tortillas with some yuca flour and some coconut oil. So the coconut oil we have to melt on the stove. So it's half a cup. And I know you're supposed to be precise and measure. I'm not a big fan of that. So
I love that because I'm not that guy that is going to measure everything to the detail. What I love about what Eric teaches us is how to do it simple and have fun with it, right? And that's been the part of cooking. Like I always say, I don't know how to cook. Well, he's taught me how to make meals that are absolutely delicious. And it was an incredibly simple process, which you're going to learn right now, by the way.
So we're just going to melt this down real quick on the stove. There we go.
On low?
Yeah, low.
Okay.
So all we're trying to do is get that melted. It doesn't have to be hot, it's just got to be a liquid. And then we're going to take the yuca flour, which we grow right here on property and process into flour. If you guys want to learn how to make that, we can go through that whole process as well.
Yes, stay tuned for future videos, but that's a good point is I mean, look at how fine that powder is. I mean, it is really good flour.
Super fun.
Super fine.
And I'm
And
going to throw 2 cups of that in there.
okay.
And this recipe will make about 30 small tortillas.
And this is yucca growing regeneratively, right? In other words, there's no chemicals, no poisons, nothing. It's growing right here on the land. And we'll do a future show showing you how to take it from the big tuber that comes out of the dirt and how to clean it off and how to process that into flour.
And then we're just going to throw a cup of water in there. I'm not going to put the whole thing in there. I'm going to leave a little bit. Sometimes, depending on the humidity and other things, it might take a little more water, it might take a little less. So as this melts down, let's get it melting.
My friends, this is my next phase of life is to learn how to really take what's growing all over us, all over the land here. We have about 280 different types of food producing plants. In fact, with what Eric has brought, we probably have well over 300. You've probably got 30 or 40 different types between your microgreens and your dad.
Yep. So we're gonna put in about a teaspoon of salt. Like I said, I'm not big on that. So throw that in there. Now the salt that I use, if you can see it on camera, it's real salt. So it still has all of the minerals and everything in the salt. Much better for you than your bleached out regular iodized salt.
Yeah. And by the way, that iodized salt is bad for you. This is actually good for you. Right? Salt is wonderful, by the way. This idea that salt causes all that hypertension, poisonous salt is really bad. But good salt, like I said, it's the opposite of what they tell you on the media, as you know.
So now that this is all melted, I'm just gonna let it cool just a touch.
And why do you let it cool just a touch?
Just so it doesn't cook the flour.
Okay, there you go.
So if you can stick your finger in it, you're good. My fingers. That's all.
A little bit. Yeah, it's hot, but I mean, it didn't. I don't have a blister. Okay.
So we're gonna set this down for 1 second. Put the glove on. Oh. So I just throw on a glove just so I don't have to get all this stuff stuck in the hand. You can use a rubber spatula to mix this up, a wooden spoon, anything will work. So this is that coconut oil. Just gonna pour that in there. We'll mix this up. And you're looking for it to be about a little bit thinner than Play-Doh.
It smells good already.
So here we go.
There. So can you see in there? Like you can kind of see the consistency.
It's like just a little bit thinner than your kid's Play-Doh.
Okay, cool.
So now we're gonna let this sit. Kind of pull together and let all that stuff absorb into the flour. We'll set this here.
All right.
Now we're gonna make our salsa for our tacos. We're gonna do a little mango salsa.
Now these mangoes we just picked off the tree, they're considered not quite ripe mangoes. So they got a little tartness to them. You can see they're starting to get some color. So Eric is a magician in here. So what he does with this, I've tasted it many times. It's really fantastic.
So we're just gonna cut this thing in half.
Okay.
And whatever knife you feel comfortable with is the best knife for you to use. So whether it's a giant knife or a little tiny one, if it's comfortable in your hand, then that's the one you want to use. Okay.
It's still a hard mango. There you go. Look at that. A little yellow in there. And then why are we doing this? Like the why is so important. We're doing this because we've recognized that the world is in chaos. And what we're sharing with you today is, from my perspective, which is well studied in this area, the only way that we are going to overcome when we inspire and empower mass adoption of using our resources wisely, right? That's the key. Is stewardship, is let's let the land, God's design, nature, let's do what that, let's help that. Let's be the stewards of this system so that it produces massive abundance for us, right? This is where we've gotten, and this is all by design, this is not by accident. The reason that the food supply chain is basically all controlled by BlackRock right? Which is not only the name, it's also the intention. The reason is because this is a strategy of war, right? Control food, control people, said Henry Kissinger back in 1974, right? 50 years ago. This is not an accident that it's this way, right? And the good news is, that's the bad news, but we focus on good news here at Braveheart Nation. The good news is that it's so easy to go from wherever you are now to a little bit more self-reliant, right? Look at that. You know, in Costa Rica, I never had green mango before, but in Costa Rica, they take green mango, they put a little oil on it and a little salt on it, or tahine, which is a very famous kind of spice in Costa Rica. It's absolutely awesome. Look at that.
We're just gonna take it. I'm not too worried about the size of it. We're gonna chop all this up anyway. So we're just trying to get as much as we can
Get that meat
off of
out.
the seed.
That little bit of yellow, that little bit of a sweetness in there.
So we've got some mango here.
And this is tahini. And by the way, we're working with Braveheart Nation and Dr. Wolfe, and we are going to be adding the lion's mane powder and also some other products, herbal teas and so on, to the offering through Braveheart Nation. So that'll come when it comes. We're looking at getting it to the market by sometime early next year.
So we're just gonna take and cut this into strips. As big or as small as you want. And then we're just gonna take and dice it up to make a little kind of salsa out of it.
Mmm. 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 It's so good. So we just moved into our family homestead about 5 weeks ago. And I do a lot of speaking engagements, and I've been asked by many people, what got you here? And what got me here was failure and desperation. Because I started learning what was going on in the world about 18 years ago. And I've got 4 daughters. And if we continue along the current trajectory, the current path of destroying our ecosystem, which is led from the top down, right? People are generally good. We are innately good. By our very nature, we want to do good and we want to serve, because by doing so, good things come back. Well, we have been led by some type of evil, and that evil has deceived us into taking poisons and applying them to our water and our soil and our air on a regular basis, as you all know, Bravehearts. So again, there's one way that we will make it through these times and thrive, and that is by mass adoption of using our resources wisely, right? So we're either going to experience a collapse of the system, a systemic collapse, or we are going to experience a transition. What I see happening, what you see happening, is some pockets of our global community are collapsing, while other pockets are transitioning. It's up to you to be the catalyst for change in your own community, right? Starting in your own heart and in your family. And then as you start getting a surplus of energy, you start reinvesting that surplus into your community and then showing people how to do this, right? Look at that. Look at how finely that is. That's chopped up. Go ahead.
So don't get caught up on it all being the same size.
Yeah.
The only time things need to be all the same size is if you're gonna cook them. So they cook in the same amount of time. So we're not cooking this. So if you're okay that it doesn't look perfect, I am.
Oh, God, looks perfect to me.
And we'll just throw all that in there, and then we're going to take a little bit of jalapeno. Save the seeds.
Save the seeds, look at that. Save the seeds. We got a feature film coming out this summer that's going to change the world. And why? It's incredibly unique in a couple different ways. One way is this feature film is going to cost us about under $100,000. It's going to be probably around an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And it's going to lay out in great detail the contrast between the Black Rock narrative, the military industrial complex narrative, and the solutions to all of it. And at the end, nature, God's design wins. And then it goes into how to create a local, self-reliant food supply chain. So it's not just a feature film. It's actually a roadmap, a very detailed strategy about how every community in the world can become completely free.
So these are just little key limes, a little key lime tree on my front porch. So we're just going to juice these. Right into here.
Now, you had, in your condo that you lived in, you had an 8 by 10 foot second floor balcony, right?
Correct.
What did you have growing on that?
So I had 3 different kinds of tomatoes, 3 different kinds of peppers, 3 different kinds of squash, onions, all kinds of herbs, key limes, pineapple, sweet potato.
I saw avocado tree.
An avocado tree, amaranth, a bunch.
A bunch, probably literally almost 5 to 10 more. Now, that was on an 8 by 10 second floor balcony.
Yes.
And by the way, it was the most beautiful balcony in the whole complex.
Oh yeah, it overgrows the rail, and I had my neighbors that lived below me that would, I had zucchini and cucumbers as well. That would pick the cucumbers off of the vines that were hanging off of the second floor down to the first.
So you have space, my friends. People say I don't have the space. That's a BS. That's a belief system.
You have the space, you're just going to be a little creative.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So now we're going to take some of the green part of this green onion. And one of the mistakes that people make with their knives is they cut with the middle part of their knife. The middle part of your knife is the dullest. The sharpest points are your 2 ends.
Good.
So if you're chopping something like this, you want to use the end closest to your fingers. And then if you're doing something more where you're not on the cutting board and you're more peeling something or something like that, you want to use this end.
Wow. That's beautiful to know.
So we're going to take a little bit of cilantro.
It's all grown on your deck.
Yep. So we're just going to chop this up real fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'll just throw that in there. So how many ingredients are we up to? 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 ingredients. Yeah. This will make 5. Throw a little salt in there.
So cool.
And we're going to put a little bit of avocado oil in there just to kind of pull all those flavors together.
I'm hungry. I'm getting really hungry.
You can make this with as many or as few ingredients as you would like. So you can keep adding stuff to this. My whole kind of thoughts about cooking is if you can keep it as simple as humanly possible, the flavors don't compete, and it's just much cleaner product.
And then you're gonna do it too, right? If it's super complicated, fewer people are gonna go through the time and energy and expense of doing it, right? But if it's simple, which is why I love what you teach so much about the simplicity of it. I mean, how long did that whole thing just take? And you're not even trying to go fast. It's just enjoying the process.
So there's our salsa.
Go ahead.
And have at it.
Oh my God. That's fantastic. Oh my God. Taco?
So there's our salsa. Move all this stuff right here.
All right. And we have our little compost bucket right here. So this is recycle, reuse, repurpose. So we put this right back into the system. And then we build soil with it. We feed worms. Oh.
So fish for our fish tacos. So this is just a little kind of blackening seasoning that I threw together. It's smoked paprika, a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of chili powder, some thyme, a little oregano, a little garlic, and a little ancho pepper dried. So we're just going to sprinkle just a little bit of this on one side. So if it ends up all over the pan, it ends up all over. It'll be all. So we got those little dusting on there. We're going to set these to the side and let them kind of soak that in a little bit, and we're going to go back to our tortillas.
All right.
I'm going to throw on some gloves. Turn this pan on low over here. So this is the same pan that I melted the coconut oil in. That little bit of oil is not going to make a difference. So it'll be gone after your first tortilla soaked it up. So you want to make a little ball out of this, a little bit smaller than about the size of a golf ball. And then we're going to take our tortilla press. If you don't have a tortilla press, you can do this just between the parchment paper with your hand. We have the press, so we're going to use it. So literally, I don't even use a hard press. I just press it down with my hand. I don't want them quite as thin as the pressure of that. And then we're just going to peel this off. Take this and drop it right in the pan. So it takes a little bit of finessing to get it off, to get it started, to come off of the paper. So this is a good lesson here. So you'll see this one fell apart, right?
Yeah.
So that means our dough is too loose. So we need to add a little bit more flour to it.
All right. So if it's a little bit too loose or falls apart, you add flour and it'll thicken it up or whatever.
We're just going to literally put a sprinkle over the top.
Can I mix it with my hands?
Yep, just mix it all together.
Okay.
And you'll feel it firm right up.
Yeah, I can feel it getting more, less moist feeling and more thicker. All right.
So I don't know how to tell if it's right or not until I touch it.
How's that feel?
So we need a little bit more. So there we go.
Okay.
We'll mix that up. We'll start the process. Yep.
Here we go. And then you can use the same parchment paper?
I use the same parchment paper to make all.
Good deal. Okay, so first time for me. Is that a little big or is that
That's a
good?
little big.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Like that? Maybe? Big?
a little big.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Right in the
Right in
middle?
the middle, so you want it further away from your crease,
Okay.
because when this thing comes down, it's gonna push it this way, but you don't want it to give you a flat side.
Okay.
Close that up
And then push this down.
and give it a little push with your hand, and you'll feel it kind of stop, and then you're good.
Okay. Let's see what happens.
We're gonna push that just a little bit more. There you go.
Okay.
There we go. Now we have our tortilla.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just take this here.
Look at that one. Okay, I can see it already coming off better.
So once your pan gets hot,
Yeah.
I just take it off the heat, about this thing.
All right. All right.
We're gonna take it right off of the paper.
Okay. Put it a little bit that way.
Yep,
Okay.
close it up. So if you have a griddle, these are super easy to do on a griddle, because you can just take the parchment over, slap the tortilla onto the griddle, and then peel the parchment.
Gotcha. So when a pan with the curved edges, it makes it a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what we're getting. Eric has designed for us an outdoor kitchen. So right out here, we are going to be, basically, we're gonna have all of the different things. We're gonna have the griddle. That's the same as the flat top, right?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I don't even know the lingo. So we're gonna have the griddle. We're gonna have a rocket stove feature that can be run off of wood. We're gonna have a pizza oven, and then kind of a steak. What is that called? A grill.
A grill, yep, pizza oven.
Cool.
So, and you can refrigerate this dough for a couple of days, it'll keep in your fridge.
Yeah.
Just, put it up in a bag or, put a piece of plastic wrap over the top, push it down so it seals.
Okay, so the moisture doesn't come out.
Right.
All right. My friends, I can't tell you how good it feels to be learning how to be self-reliant. And then what we are doing is we're collaborating with, like Erica stopped at coffee shops, and we've got, they're happy to donate all of their spent coffee grounds, right? So we go to one coffee shop, we get like 20, 30 pounds a day, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And that's an incredible asset, right? To have that kind of daily thing. And then we're going to bring them 50-gallon barrels, these plastic drums, and we're going to say, hey, fill this up. We'll pick it up like once a week. And so we can make it super efficient. And then what do we do with that gold, like that asset? We then mix that with the worm castings and the spent mushroom blocks. We might add a little cow manure, chicken manure in from our cows and chickens. And now we've got all of the pieces of the most incredible soil building puzzle. And it's easy once you know how to do it. That's a key. Right? It's really, really quite easy. So that's a major factor. Working with the different entities, the pillars of our community that have these products, and then being a hub of creation to create and then to redistribute the abundance as it is created.
Flip these over. Once they start to brown a little bit, then you just give them a flip. Like I said, if you're working on a griddle, you can just take a spatula, flip them all. Working out of a pan is a little bit more difficult, but we'll still manage.
Yeah.
So they take about a minute to a minute and a half on each side.
Okay. Let me try something here. Let's see.
So we're just going to set these over here.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh. Maybe a little more flour.
Yeah, let's try a little more flour.
A little more flour. It came out most of the way, but now, yeah, you could tell that some of them, they're still a little bit moist, so, all right. All right. There we go. Flour, thicken it up. Cool. And yucca grows so well here.
Now we're getting to that.
Yeah, it was a little moist, wasn't it? No? Good.
So we're gonna leave it right on the paper.
Look at that. Okay, that came off.
Take the paper. Right into the pan.
Boom. Look at that. That one is perfect.
So as you can see in the pan, once it browns up, it won't stick.
That's amazing. So a couple little tiny adjustments and boom, we've got now perfect consistency and a beautiful liquid tortilla in the meat.
Absolutely. You can keep pressing those out.
Okay, I'll keep pressing these out.
And that's the other thing with the griddle, you can do six of them to a dozen at a time as opposed to,
Yeah, one at a time.
or one at a time in our little thing.
And by the way, if you want to be involved in what we're doing with Braveheart Nation, the best way to be involved is to start growing some food at home. Right? That's the number one thing that we request of everybody, to start being the change that you want to see in the world. If you're bitching at the government and yelling at all the insanity, but you're not taking steps to be self-reliant, then you're really just wasting breath, right? So don't just bitch, do something about it. All right, should I line these up somewhere?
No,
Okay.
we're just gonna.
Okay, I'll just, now that we've got it down, it's a pretty fast, simple process.
Yeah, they take longer to cook than they do to make. So.
Yeah. Love it.
But we'll do 4 sticks.
Yeah, we'll do 4, a couple tacos each. Yeah, and then I goofed it up. I tried to be fancy. I know, it's fun. I'm just having fun. This is just too much fun.
That's the great thing about not being able to screw it up.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. So, my friends, are you having fun? Like, does this make sense to you? So what else was I just gonna say? All right, we'll just leave it in the paper.
Yep.
I can't quit fidgeting. This is nuts. I've never been a chef in my life. I've never cooked anything, really. I've never done anything like this. So I'm like a kid in a candy store.
So. And we have
Look at that.
tortilla.
Oh my gosh. Look at that, my friend. Look at the first tortilla ever made here in our new kitchen with yucca flour from our place, and the blessing. Nature provides all of the answers, my friend. It's not up to for-profit, patented, chemical-laden, toxic food. The toxic food supply is, well, the ultimate control mechanism is fear and emotional hijacking, right? They use emotions like shame and humiliation and all of this crazy stuff that we see on the news. It's meant to control your emotions. There we go. Yeah, that won't make a difference. And he keeps helping me keep it simple. And so the first thing that we must do is let go of the fear. Let go of the humiliation. Let go of the shame. There's an idea, a narrative being spread around that humans are a cancer on the earth. And that is one of the ultimate psyops. Because now we have to recognize our part in this. I'm not saying that we are not destroying the earth, because we are destroying the earth. But it's not because that is in our nature. It's not. What's in our nature is stewardship and service and being stewards. I keep saying that word because it's so important. That's in our nature. So the reason that we're not doing this is because we have believed, because we are naive and gullible, there's no doubt about that. We have believed the narrative that we were told by our friends and family and our parents and our culture was true. Governmente is there to help us, right? Governmente means control the mind, right? So that is the ultimate deception, is we simply believe that government is there to help us. Well, we got to let go of that insanity, which, of course, everybody listening, you're bravehearts, you're here for a reason. You've heard Dr. Wolfe talk. You're aware, thank you for being here, that this is a bunch of BS. So now that you're aware, then a lot of people are living in this fear state, this perpetual, which is again part of the psyop. It's perpetual anxiety. Right? Look over here. Look at Elon. Look at all this craziness. Look at the fights. Look, oh my gosh. You know, turn all that off. If it leaves you feeling scared, anxious, humiliated, ashamed of being a human, turn it off. And then start doing things like here's the ultimate way to feel good. When you start serving your friends, yourself, the best way to serve yourself is by serving your friends, your family, and the land. And this is not a hypothetical fact. This is an absolutely demonstrable truth that has been documented to stop crime, to stop childhood depression and drug use, to stop veteran suicide, right? When we become the servants again of others and of the land, then by way of doing that, we feel good, right? So service is literally the ultimate cure for your anxiety and your depression, right? So today, after this show, what are you going to do? What might you do? Well, I would stand in your knowing, take a deep breath, become aware of the energy in your body, the feelings of stress and anxiety. Breathe through them, let them go, and then start taking steps towards self-reliance and service. All right, what's next?
So I'm gonna finish off this last one here.
Okay.
And then, since this pan's already hot, we're just gonna do the fish in 2 stages.
Okay.
So we'll cook half the fish, we'll get that ready, we'll start making tacos, and then we'll put the other half on to cook while we finish making tacos.
Sweet.
We get this guy flipped over. So I saw something in the fridge.
All right. So, and Eric brought these over. This is so cool. These are little taco holders. So, and he showed me, you want 2 tacos? There you go. If you want 3, there you go. Right? So I just think that. All
So
right.
I'm gonna take a little bit of lemon juice.
Okay.
And put a little bit in there. And we're gonna save that. We're gonna put the rest up.
Nice, nice, nice. And by the way, we have a Berkey, and we use this thing. This is Doc of Detox water structuring thing. When I first heard about these and I looked at this thing, I'm like, that can't do anything. And then we tried. I actually poured a glass of wine through here. I was with Dr. Wolfe and at a local restaurant, and I poured a glass. I tasted the wine. I poured it through. Tasted it again, and it was absolutely noticeably different. There is something to this, and I never drink a water here at the house without running it through this system. So anyway, I love it.
So we're just gonna put a little bit of avocado oil in the pan. And we're gonna put these in there seasoned side down.
These inside down. I would have thought the opposite of that. So does that bake it in?
So it sears, so with the smoked paprika and that kind of stuff, you want it to sear and it'll actually, so they call it blackened seasoning because it's supposed to turn dark. It gives it that smoky flavor.
I gotcha.
So why, the other thing you can do, you put it in your seasoned side down, you can sprinkle a little on the other side.
Oh, there you go. So that's so cool. I never knew that. You put the seasoned side down to create a blackened flavor, and then you sprinkle the other side. So when you flip it, you got them both on. And by the way, folks, this is our first cooking show in our new kitchen, Braveheart Nation Yum Media studio. And we don't have microphones this week, but we will next week. I'm also getting a better camera because my phone, one of the 3 lenses, has a big hole in it, right? I don't even know how that got there, but there it is. So we're going to continuously bring you better quality and solutions, right? Solutions that you can use at home. And I caught these fish out on the lake here. To me, one of the best preparedness tools is a fishing pole and the knowledge about how to use the fishing pole. Fish are amazing. Naturally caught, right? In some waterways, it might be a little toxic, but these are as fresh as it gets.
So they take about a minute and a half per side.
Okay.
Depends on how thick you're fishing.
Yeah.
And how dense it is. But with these fillets, minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah. And so check out this fillet. This is crappie. Right? You can see the shape of it. There's good crappie. So for that fillet, for probably 12, 13-inch crappie, it's a minute and a half to 2 minutes a side. If the red snapper twice as thick, you do.
Yeah, and anything like red snapper or salmon, anything that still has the skin on it, you want to cook it skin side down first. And you want that skin to come out nice and crispy.
Okay.
And then flip it over just to sear that other side and let it. You're gonna cook it probably 60 to 70% on that skin side.
That's awesome. I cooked a lot of fish in my life, and I never knew that.
These are about done.
I'm hungry.
So let's set up some tacos.
And my friends, are you having fun with this? Do you know anybody who would appreciate this type of video, this type of learning? If you do, share this with them. So,
I'm just gonna take each little piece, make a taco.
oh my God. I mean.
Just a little
Bit more oil?
just a touch.
That's in the middle there. All right.
Just some fish in there, and I use the fish pins for the oil. All right. And a little seasoning.
I can't wait. I love nibbling. I'm a nibbler. It's just, to me, it's so much fun.
Okay, let's build these up.
I'm a nibbler. It's just, to me, it's so much fun.
Okay, let's build these up. Okay. So we got our. We're gonna take our salsa right on the top.
Right.
Balls all over the place.
Good.
Get our salsa in there good. And we'll just take a little bit of lemon. A little over the top. And you're ready to go. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Look at that. Stuff like me. Oh my God. Okay. I already know how good it's going to be because I can smell it. I've had, but the moment of truth here. Oh my God. To think that this all came from nature, from the land around, the yucca flower, the fish, the mango, the cilantro. I mean, literally everything but a few of the spices and the salt came right from the land. Oh my God. That's delicious.
Yeah.
And it's so nutritious. All right, gotta learn to talk, eat first, talk afterwards. So even the spices, we have a ton of different spices growing here as well. So literally, our goal is to create a completely closed loop system, which includes community, right? This idea of being on an island all by yourself, I don't really want to live like that. I love people, I love community. So when we engage with the community, and some people have the ability to have cows, others don't, right? Some people are going to be specialists in particular things, others won't, but that's great. It's the diversity of the different desires and skill sets that create the foundation of strength within the community. So what do you want to be good at? It doesn't matter what you're good at now, right? What matters is what you want to be good at, what you desire to be good at. Go for it. Right now, make a declaration to yourself, your friends, your family, your community, that you're going to learn a particular thing and then share that resource. And when everybody does, even just a few people, like 10–20% of our population does a little bit more than they're currently doing, boom, we change the world. I love the salsa. All right, I forgot it's a cooking show and not an eating show. But I'm gonna eat. Oh. All right, check this out, my friends. Eric is living here now. Well, it's just beautiful, divine circumstance how it's all coming together. And if you want to come to Galt's Landing, we have Airbnbs. We have 4 tiny homes, and we've got a couple larger homes. And you can come here and you can stay. And Eric, if he's here, we can even schedule where he can cook a meal like this with you, right? And what do you charge for like a cooking class for something like this, where you cook, you learn how to cook, and you even have the food?
It would depend a little bit on what we're going to cook, but for the most part, it would be about $50 a person.
Yeah, amazing. And that's a cooking class with the meal. Now, what I've experienced too is there's abundance. So how can you get a meal of this quality along with all the education and the learning of it. And anyway, come visit us. We're here in Central Florida. We're on a private 430-acre lake. And right at the end of the show, I'll do a quick tour of around what we got going on around here. All right, so what else, man? What else can you think of to share?
When it comes to cooking, so it doesn't matter what knife you use, any of that. Use whatever knife is comfortable in your hand because it's the one you're most likely. Keep it as simple as you can. When you start getting recipes that have 25, 30 ingredients, they're all competing for your palate, and you're never going to be able to taste all that. So, like you saw the tortillas, including salt, there's 4 ingredients, right? Flour,
Butter, coconut, salt.
So you got yuca flour, water, oil, salt. 4 ingredients.
4 ingredients. Water, yeah. 4 ingredients, amazing.
So, and the salsa is like 6. So keep it super simple. That way you get the flavors that all come through that you're looking for. I'm a big fan of keeping it as simple as possible. It makes for very tasty food. And the other thing is it doesn't take you 2 hours to put together a meal. So we started this whole process at the beginning of this show. It's been less than an hour. I mean, we're already
eating. Amazing. We're eating incredible food. And we have enough, by the way. I mean, right here, there's enough tortillas for 10 people to be full.
Yeah, that one thing, that one batch will make 30 tortillas.
Right.
30 small tortillas.
So 3 tacos for everybody. This is a pretty good amount of stuff. And we've got 2 mangoes. We've got some. So, in other words, we have a big asset here, an amazing value. It's just a matter of learning the process.
Yep. It's not a hard process, and I've made a bunch of stuff in my lifetime that tasted horrible. But you know, that's how you learn.
That's how you learn. All right. Thank you, brother. I'm gonna show you a real quick tour in the yard, and then we're gonna invite you back next week where we'll cook something else. All right. So this is our family homestead. We just got our table a couple days ago. This is our basically our extended studio. And then out here, we have the beginnings of our food forest, right? There's some cows right there with some cattle egrets. It's a pretty unique setting. And then the lake, that's the private 430-acre lake that we've got a kayak. You can go kayaking or fishing. And then we're starting to build out this area to be, there's already aloe and 2 different types of avocados, bananas and sugarcane and Mexican sunflower and papayas and longans and guavas and cherries and all sorts of stuff, sweet potatoes and nasturtium on the ground and more. So we're just getting started, folks. This is how we change the world. If you want to be involved in any way, if you want to be involved financially, if you want to be involved in any way whatsoever, get a hold of us. We're here to change the world with you. Thank you, Bravehearts.